सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं। 15th verse only we will chant. असिद्धार्थानैव क्वचिदपि सदेवासुरनरे निवर्तन्ते नित्यं जगति जयिनो यस्य विशिखाः सपश्यन्मीशत्वामितरसुरसाधारणमभूत् स्मरस्मर्तव्यात्मा न हि वशिषुपथ्यः परिभवः। So we had seen different leelas of Bhagavan, starting from the pillar of fire. Bhagavan appeared when there was a argument between Lord Brahma and Bhagavan Vishnu, just to emphasize the falsity of doership. He says there are some things in this world, more we appreciate it, happier our life is. And consciousness is one such thing which is not created. It is not anybody's creation, it is ever there. To emphasize this, Bhagavan did that Leela. And the main point in that Leela was that whenever we pray to the Lord fervently, Bhagavan gives darshan. Or Bhagavan's grace showers upon that person who prays fervently to the Lord. No matter how great he might be, when grace will come, that is dependent upon Bhagavan. It is not because we have done some sadhana, grace has to come. Our part is to keep doing it sincerely. Then the next Leela, 11th and 12th verse, was about Ravana, who went and tried to lift the mountain because he had gotten so much strength by worshipping Bhagavan Shiva, offered one head to Bhagavan. And Bhagavan casually touched his toe down. And it was so powerful that Ravana could not get shelter even in Patala. The point here was the one who has sthira bhakti, that is a key word. One whose devotion is unwavering, that person gets lot of strength. Whichever sadhana we might have taken, there should be sthirata in it. Sadashiv Brahmendraji, he has composed a song, Sthirata Nahi Nahi Re. It's a beautiful song where he says, Bhagavan, my problem is there is no steadiness in whatever I do. This mind is so chanchala that it doesn't settle down in one thing. But through the Leela of Ravana, means through the story of Ravana, Pushpadantacharya is pointing out, the one who has sthirata, that person is blessed with lot of strength. This is where we had seen the urgency of being spiritual, getting our priorities right. If we ever get doubts, why should we be spiritual? Which text we should read? Bhaja Govindam. Right from the beginning, first verse onwards, Bhagavan hammers this point. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Why we should worship Govinda. So that was about Ravana. Then 12th verse was again Ravana continued, where he tried to lift Mount Kailasa. The main point there was, a person should not become ungrateful. The one because of whom he got all this strength, he tried to lift same Bhagavan's abode. That Kritajnata should be held, kept very dear in our heart. Then came the Leela of Banasura. Banasura also did lot of tapasya, worshipped Shivalinga, and got so much prosperity that even Indra's prosperity looked very little in front of him. That was also Banasura's greatness. The one who bows down to Bhagavan, that person rises. This was the main point in Banasura's Leela. The way it was put was, who is there in this world who doesn't rise when they bow down to you? Na kasya unyate bhavati. One who bows down to you, who is there who doesn't rise? The way in which it is put in Sanskrit is also a little complicated, but we should get the gist of it. And 14th verse was the Leela of Lord Shiva when he drank the halahala poison. Some places it is halahala, some places it is given halahala. Both readings I have seen. And that Visha represented different experiences which come our way on the strength of forbearance and devotion, trying to keep it in our throat. Not swallowing it to harm ourselves, neither spitting it out to harm others. That is the Leela of taking this poison. But we also saw why this Visha came. Why this Visha came? Because Devatas and Asuras, without internal tuning, they were trying to forge external bond. Nowadays, when they form coalition government, outside they want to form a bond, but inside everybody is having selfish agendas. The result of such a endeavor is poison. But the thing is, as individuals, we cannot control totality. Somebody was asking that question also. Whatever is happening in the world outside, as individuals, we cannot decide which direction it has to go. The only control we have is what is our perspective. What is my contribution? That is in my hands. When you start looking at how karma works, it's a fascinating subject actually. It is not top down, it is bottom up. If we want a healthy society, we cannot have individuals who are having agitating thoughts and expect healthy society as a total. We'll have to start from individual, which leads up to total. In that way, this Leela concluded of Bhagavan Shiva. Next one is a story where Satiji had given up her body in the sacrifice of Daksha. Satiji had given up her body, and after that Bhagavan Shiva was living by himself without too much of paraphernalia, very quiet life. Most of the time he would spend in Samadhi. Right at that time, Satiji was reborn as Parvatiji. Now there are different versions of this story, Don't get confused. Satiji was born as Parvati ji. And right from childhood, she had this intense will, intense desire that I should serve Bhagavan Shiva. Her father was Himavan, who was very surprised that such a young girl, she is having such strong conviction that I don't want anything else, I want to serve Bhagavan Shiva. So he takes Parvati ji along with him to meet Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva was in Samadhi, so they had to wait. Until he comes out of Samadhi, they had to wait. And when he came out of Samadhi, he looked at Parvati ji. And he said, what will you do here? Because most of the time I am meditating. Even if you stay here, conditions are difficult. Mount Kailas hai. Cold all the time. He says, don't stay here, you can go back. But she was very insistent. She said, this is my only goal. I don't want anything but serve Bhagavan Shiva. And Bhagavan Shiva said, okay, you can stay here. I will do my work. You can do whatever duties I assign you. So like that, Parvati ji stayed for a long time. Right at that time, there was a rakshasa who was born, whose name was Tarakasura. And this Tarakasura did lot of tapasya. And his tapasya was such, this rakshasa, they're very strange. They do so much austerity, but what they ask is very funny. So much austerity he did, and his boon was, I should be killed only by the son of Lord Shiva. Other than son of Lord Shiva, nobody should be able to kill me. Now he knows Lord Shiva is in meditation. He is never going to open his eyes. So, and if Lord Shiva goes in meditation, it's for several hundreds of years. It is not our half an hour meditation. For us, with great difficulty, we sit down. With great difficulty, we enter. Lord Shiva's difficulty is to come out. In Ramcharitmanas, that's how it is said. With great difficulty, Bhagavan opened his eyes. He said, until he is in meditation, I am safe. And he is Parama Virakta. He is dispassionate one. There will be no way in which he will have a son and from that son I will be killed. Now these devatas, they had to plot something. They said, we have to do something now. Bhagavan Shiva has to be woken up from Samadhi. He has to get married. And he has to have a son who will finish Tarakasura. Now whom do they send for this purpose? Project is very difficult. They say, let us find Kamadeva. See, whenever you have to get your work done, first thing is you should praise that person. So all devatas, they praise Kamadeva. They say, you are the most handsome. You are the one who is having the whole world under your control. If at all there is one person who can accomplish this, that is you. Kamadeva also feels, must be true. If they are saying, let me try. So he goes and hoping that Lord Shiva will get infatuated by Parvati ji's beauty. He sends 5 arrows. Kamadeva, that is how he does. First what he does is, when he comes, he creates the appropriate environment. Suddenly it becomes cool, nice breeze is there, fragrance is there. Then he will send an arrow, not one arrow, but there are 5 arrows. But they are not ordinary arrows, they are flower arrows, flowery arrows. Those he will send. And when he sends it, Bhagavan Shiva wakes up from Samadhi. It is said first he opens his right eye. Right eye was still in Samadhi. Left eye, he becomes conscious of the world. First looks at Parvati ji. He says, she cannot do this. She is so devoted, she cannot create any agitation in my Samadhi. Then he opens his third eye, looks at Kamadeva. And when he looks at Kamadeva, the adjective used is very beautiful. Smaraha smartav yatma. Kamadeva remained only an object of memory. Look at the beauty, He says, Smara smartav yatma. After that day onwards, Kamadeva only became object of memory, means he was burned down. So Bhagavan, our Pushpadantacharya ji, he says, the essence of this Leela is insulting a self-controlled person doesn't bring much good. Vashishu patyah, vashishu paribhavah na patyah. Insulting or trying to do something to a self-controlled person ends up bouncing back on the person who is trying to do it. I was thinking, the Anvaya part which is there, right? The same Anvaya meaning is given down in the paragraph. So if we read the English meaning also, it will be a good recap. Means you will get a good gist of it. So I'll just read the English one, that way it's not intimidating. Okay? So, O Lord Kamadeva, whose arrows are always victorious and never return unsuccessful from the world of gods, demons and humans, that Kamadeva became just an object of memory. So this is the Leela part, whatever he had done. This was because he considered you like any other ordinary god. So Kamadeva thought this Bhagavan Shiva is like any other ordinary person. He can go and win over Kamadeva also. Win over Bhagavan Shiva also. But insulting the self-controlled does not bring good results. So your homework is to match it to the verse. I just read the English part. Now why does Kamadeva send flowery arrows? Because Kamadeva, and how many arrows does he have? 5. So those 5 arrows represent 5 sense organs. If he has to attack any person, he will come through one of the sense organs. But he will come in such a way, we will not feel that we are being attacked. That's why his arrows are flowery arrows. Any sense object controlling the mind, sadhaka doesn't feel he is getting hit by that arrow. Means hit by that sense object. It looks very good. And if somebody has to overcome desire for objects, the only way to do it is increase desire for God. That is another message in this Leela. The one who increases desire for Bhagavan, desire for sense objects are removed from his mind. But this has to become his own quest. Okay, if you want to refine it more, you can say, desire for erroneous objects should be removed from our mind. Because if you just say desire for objects should be removed, then sometimes people get questions. How will life run? If you don't have any desires, how are you going to live life? So safer way to put it is, first, erroneous desire should be removed. Those which are going to bring harm to us, those desires everybody agrees that we should not have it. And the way to do it is through devotion. So that Kamadeva remained just as an object of memory. Next verse is a very beautiful metaphor. You can even imagine it, You can bring the visual in front of your eyes. This is Bhagavan Shiva doing Tandava Nritya, the cosmic dance. There's a nice trivia about this. You all must be familiar with CERN, right? The European Organization for Nuclear Research. Right at the entrance of CERN, there is a Nataraja Murti, gifted by India to that organization. But a lot of symbolic meaning is there to the Tandava dance of Lord Shiva. Mahipadaghatat vrajati sahasa samshayapadam. Mahipadaghatat vrajati sahasa samshayapadam. Padam Vishnur Bhramyad Bhuja Parigharugna Grahaganam. Padam Vishnur Bhramyad Bhuja Parigharugna Grahaganam. Muhurdyaur Daursthyam Yat Muhurdyaur Dausthyam Yat Tyanibhruta Jatatadita Tata Tyanibhruta Jatatadita Tata Jagadrakshayai Tvam Natasi nanuvamaiva vibhuta. Jagadrakshayai Tvam Natasi nanuvamaiva vibhuta. Mahipadaghatat vrajati sahasa samshayapadam. Padam Vishnur Bhramyad Bhuja Parigharugna Grahaganam. Muhurdyaur Dausthyam Yatyanibhruta Jatatadita Tata. Jagadrakshayai Tvam Natasi nanuvamaiva vibhuta. Bhagavan Shiva does Tandava Nritya. Why did he come to do this Nritya? There was one rakshasa whose name was Kalabala. Kalabala rakshasa, who had gotten a boon that once it is sunset time, he would devour the earth. He would eat up the earth. He had that boon to himself. Bhagavan Shiva does Tandava Nritya to distract him. Bhagavan Shiva does Tandava Nritya so that he is enchanted by the dance and he forgets about eating the world. That is one interpretation. Second one is, there is another rakshasa whose name is Apasmara. Apasmara. To keep that rakshasa under his control, Bhagavan does Tandava Nritya. Now both have a symbolic meaning. Kalabala rakshasa represents an agitated mind. A mind which is swinging from one direction to another, so much so that it wants to take certain decisions, wants to do certain things. Whenever such a mind is there, it is said we should distract that mind. Remove that mind away from that object, remove that mind away from that topic. It's only a matter of time, it will again get back to its normalcy. And the best way to give this mind a separate topic is devotion. Something should be there which takes this mind away from that immediate topic. Otherwise, that same thing will get stuck in its mind. Same thing will get stuck in the mind. The way to distract it, Bhagavan says, I do Tandava Nritya to distract. And second rakshasa is Apasmara. That Apasmara symbolizes in Vedanta what we call as adhyasa, superimposition. Consciousness having understood itself to be matter, the mix-up which is happening between matter and consciousness, that is represented by Apasmara. And Bhagavan Shiva keeps that adhyasa under his control. So that Tandava Nritya is to make sure that this adhyasa doesn't rise. Means that is showing the stage of Jivan Mukti. That is showing the stage of liberation while living, where this person sees this world but is not affected by the superimposition. Means he has the clarity about what is nature of consciousness and how this world is only an appearance. That is represented by Apasmara. Both you keep separate, different ways it is explained. But now what all happen when Bhagavan does this Tandava Nritya? That is given in this verse. We can actually look at the English meaning, it's easier. You all feel it less intimidating also, right? When you just read the English part, it is good. He says, you dance to protect this world, but ironically, it seems to have the opposite effect. Bhagavan does Tandava, but his Tandava looks like it is having opposite effect. Why do you say so? Because Mother Earth suddenly feels or becomes doubtful of her survival. When you dance, you have to put your foot for talam. That stamping of Bhagavan's foot is so powerful that when he puts his foot on Mother Earth, she becomes afraid of her survival. Due to the blows of your feet, she is becoming doubtful. Now when you dance, your hands move. So Bhagavan's hands are also moving. Vaikuntha, loka of Bhagavan Vishnu, is also feeling afraid. The abode of Lord Vishnu and all the planets fear the movement of your mace-like hands. When he does Tandava, when his hands are moving, Vaikuntha loka, Vasis, those who are living there, they start feeling afraid. Then the last one is heaven. Heaven becomes distressed, being repeatedly struck by the lashing of your matted hair. So Bhagavan's feet is moving, hands are moving, and his jata is lashing against heavens. With his movement of hands, Vaikuntha Loka is getting afraid. With his feet, Mother Earth is getting afraid. Bhagavan, the irony is, you are dancing to protect the world, but go to see everybody is getting afraid because of your dance. So these three things also have a symbolism. The first one, earth becoming afraid. Earth represents body identification. Because majority of our body is made up of earth element. Water also, but predominantly earth and water. So if we have to loosen this body identification, we need some lashing. This is Bhagavan's Tandava Nritya, the feet that he stamps. That is to loosen the first identification, which is with body. In yogic philosophy, they have some slightly different interpretation of this. What they say is, whenever you become a sadhaka, you will grow thinner and thinner. This is said in their Shastra. Whenever a person does sadhana, their body, Prithvi element goes down. And whenever it goes down, sadhaka feels afraid. He feels afraid, am I going to survive or not? He says that is represented by this stamping of Bhagavan Shiva's foot. We don't have to make any direct connection. I'm just sharing whatever different. Second thing is heaven. Second thing is Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha, feeling afraid, is whenever we do some meditation, some practice, lot of negativities which are hidden in us, they surface to the top. And when that happens, sadhaka gets afraid. In Vedanta, it is called as kashaya. Kashaya means those hidden tendencies which were not known to me when mind was active. To the extent mind becomes calm, to that extent these kashayas, they rise. And when it rises, it's very disturbing for the sadhaka. Sometimes there might be tears, sometimes there might be some extreme emotion that just takes over his mind. But that time we should remember, Bhagavan is doing his Tandava Nritya. Means it is for our own good that kashaya has to come, it has to be removed. It is just like when you wash clothes, you put soap on it. It is not sufficient to put only soap. What do you need in addition to that? Foam. Water also you need. Assuming there is water, but you have to get nice foam. Now that foam, more the foam, greater is the cleanliness. More the foam, better is the ability to remove the dirt. That foam represents kashaya. But the catch here is, one should not get afraid of kashaya. Not become judgmental about oneself. That is the second facet of Tandava Nritya. And the third one is jata. The jata which is lashing the heavens. That is a very subtle fear. That is fear of losing ahankara. When Vedantic knowledge comes, and it again and again hammers this point, that you are not this jiva, you are Brahma. You are not this finite being, you are that infinite consciousness. There is a fear in this sadhaka. If I let go of my individuality, what will I hold on to? That fear is the third fear. So Bhagavan does his Tandava Nritya to remove all three attachments. What was the first one? Body attachment. Second one was kashaya. And third one is ahankara. So one nritya he does outside, second nritya he does inside. So that Apasmara rakshasa, he represented superimposition. So we have three different superimpositions. One is with body, second is with mind, third is with ahankara, ego. To loosen all of that, we need some hammering. That hammering will come through Bhagavan's Tandava Nritya. Bhajagovindam is also Tandava Nritya, in a different way. Because it is hammering body identification, hammering our mind identification, and ego. Any Vedantic text, it is Adhyatmic Tandava. Means Tandava which happens within. Next verse is about descent of Gangaji. Viyadvyapitara Ganagunita phenodgamaruchihi Viyadvyapitara Ganagunita phenodgamaruchihi Pravaho varamyah Prushata laghudrushta shirasite Pravaho varamyah Prushata laghudrushta shirasite Jagadvipakaram Jaladhivalayam tena krutamiti Jagadvipakaram Jaladhivalayam tena krutamiti Anenaivo neyam Dhrutamahima divyam tava vapuhu Anenaivo neyam Dhrutamahima divyam tava vapuhu Viyadvyapitara Ganagunita phenodgamaruchihi Pravaho varamyah Prushata laghudrushta shirasite Jagadvipakaram Jaladhivalayam tena krutamiti Anenaivo niyam Dhrutamahima divyam tava vapuhu. Let's just look at the literal meaning first. Goddess Ganga, who flows pervading the sky. Means Ganga ji, background story we will see. But before she came here, her flow was so vast that she would pervade the entire sky. And very nice description is given of Ganga ji's beauty. The beauty of whose foam is enhanced by the reflection of stars. Means in Ganga ji there are foams, there is foam, and beauty of that foam is enhanced by reflection of stars in that foam. That is Ganga ji. Such Ganga ji is seen smaller than a drop on the head of Lord Shiva. She pervades the sky and she is so beautiful. Ganga ji is seen as a small drop on Lord Shiva's head, means just fathom the greatness of his body. Power of Lord Shiva is so great that such powerful Ganga ji is just a drop. The Ganga waters have created islands on the earth. Another greatness of Ganga ji is, it is said same Ganga ji came down and created different islands. That Ganga ji is just a drop on the head of Lord Shiva. By this alone, one can fathom the greatness and divinity of your body. Now there is a story of how Ganga ji descended upon this earth. There was a king whose name was Sagara. Sagara Raja was there. And he was doing one sacrifice called as Ashwamedha sacrifice. If you do 100 Ashwamedha, you become Indra. And whenever anybody does Ashwamedha, Indra Bhagavan becomes insecure. So there is a horse ritual which is done. So Indra Bhagavan comes and steals that horse. And not only he steals it, he takes it and keeps it in Kapila Muni's ashram. Now Sagara Raja's son, all of them set out to find this horse for their father. How many sons did he have? 60,000. 60,000 sons. Okay, Puranic stories will always have a symbolic meaning. Somebody was asking, if you are telling the stories to Balvihar children, you cannot go further than this point. You have to first explain how Sagar Raja had 60,000 sons. So we should understand there is difference between Itihas and Purana. Itihas is factual history. Purana, they will exaggerate some points. And why they are exaggerating will have a reason. So that will come to later. 60,000 sons, they set out to find this horse. And they find this horse in Kapila Muni's ashram. Without inquiring, they come to a conclusion that Kapil Muni has stolen this horse. Say, being a Muni, you are also stealing? Kapil Muni did not even know where horse, which horse. And when he opens his eyes, all Sagar Raja's sons, 60,000 of them, get burnt. They become ashes right there. Because they accused a Muni without any thinking. Now Sagar Raja wonders, what should we do? All of them are burnt. How to do their uddhara now? Then he comes to know from his guru, if you bring Gangaji down, Gangaji is not part of this universe. She is beyond this creation. If you bring her into this earth, into this world, then all sons can be revived. So Sagar Raja does lot of tapasya. But he is unsuccessful in bringing Gangaji. Then comes another king, then comes another king. Incrementally they increase. It is just like when you see some business empire. Great-great-grandfather started a shop. Then great-grandfather came, expanded that business a little. Then grandfather came, went abroad, opened many franchises. Sequentially they grow. Like that, every generation of Sagar Maharaj did lot of tapasya to bring Gangaji down. Finally, there was a king whose name was Bhagiratha. His tapasya was so powerful that finally Gangaji agreed to come. But she told Sagar Raja, she told Bhagiratha, I will come, but I am so powerful when I come down that earth will be wiped off. So I need somebody who can hold my flow. Who is there who can hold the flow of Gangaji? So Bhagiratha, he requests Bhagavan Shiva. He says, Bhagavan, Gangaji is coming down. Please hold her in your matted locks. Bhagavan says, okay, you ask her to come. Gangaji feels, I am coming down to hold me, you need lot of strength. Who is there who can hold my flow? So she comes with greater force. But she gets caught up in Lord Shiva's matted locks in such a way, she is unable to release herself from that. Bhagavan felt something cool on his head. So one small drop, that is all he felt. Then with lot of prayers, Bhagavan released Gangaji. Then she came down. With that water, the ashes of Sagar Maharaj's sons, they were purified. And then everything was good. They accomplished the purpose for which they started this tapasya. Now whenever we see this, there is some symbolism also. Who is Sagar Maharaj? Why did he have 60,000 sons? Why did they get burnt? Why did Gangaji have to come to purify them again? Gara represents poison. Gara means poison. Sagara means with poison. Sagara means with poison. And that poison is symbolic of ignorance, avidya. The primordial ignorance about our own true nature, that is called as Gara. So every jiva, technically speaking, is Sagara. Other than realized masters, every other embodied being is Sagara. Because he has avidya. He has ignorance. The son of ignorance is thoughts. Son of ignorance is thought, vritti. So there are 60,000 thoughts which have emerged from Sagara. And these thoughts, the only way to purify them is to negate them. The thoughts getting burnt, or Sagar Maharaj's son getting burnt, symbolizes vrittis getting negated. When we get clear knowledge, that knowledge helps us understand that thoughts are nothing but an appearance. But merely hearing this is not sufficient. This Jnana Ganga has to come. Ganges of knowledge has to come such that we get abidance in this truth. So thoughts got negated, but our abidance in truth will come only when it gets purified with Jnana Ganga. That is this story. And to bring Gangaji down means to get abidance in this truth is not a easy thing. That's why they say Bhagirata Prayatna. It might take several years, it might take several janmas. We know that we are Brahman, but to get abidance and to negate this mind, that is a long journey. Long journey from the standpoint of Jiva. From the standpoint of Jiva, it's a long journey. From the standpoint of consciousness, how is it? Just like a drop. The time that was spent in getting this abidance from the standpoint of consciousness, he said, I was ever present, ever there. How come you took so long? But Jiva says, you don't know my journey. Because there are so many limitations I have to work on. That took a long time. So from Lord Shiva's standpoint, how is Gangaji? Just like a drop. From Sagar Maharaj's standpoint, how is Gangaji? Took so long to come, so much of effort. He says that is the journey of Jiva towards moksha. Gara represents poison, which is symbolic of ignorance. Product of ignorance is from mind this whole universe, but here only mind is taken, thoughts. 60,000 thoughts are there. The only way to purify this thought is to negate them. Absolute way of purification is by negating thoughts. And in those negated thoughts, in that pure consciousness, we have to get abidance. Merely by saying once that I am consciousness and thoughts are mithya, it will not go anywhere. It needs repeated practice. It's a long journey to get that abidance. For that abidance, we need Jnana Ganga. God's grace, blessings in the form of Gangaji. And once that happens, he says this person can enjoy absolute bliss. The whole journey is distancing ourselves from conditionings. We should live our transactional life such that we can appreciate this inquiry. So this was the story of Gangaji coming down. Next, Leela is very beautiful. It's humorous also. When you see it, you feel, what all things Bhagavan does. Rathakshoniyanta Shatadhrutiragendro dhanuratho रथक्षोणीयन्ता शतधृतिरगेन्द्रो धनुरथो रथांगे चंद्रार्कौ रथचरणपाणिश्शर इति रथांगे चंद्रार्कौ रथचरणपाणिश्शर इति दिधक्षोस्ते कोऽयम् त्रिपुरतृणमाडम्बरविधिः दिधक्षोस्ते कोऽयम् त्रिपुरतृणमाडम्बरविधिः विधेयैः क्रीडन्त्यो न खलु परतन्त्राः प्रबुधियः विधेयैः क्रीडन्त्यो न खलु परतन्त्राः प्रबुधियः रथक्षोणीयन्ता शतधृतिरगेन्द्रो धनुरथो रथांगे चंद्रार्कौ रथचरणपाणिश्शर इति दिधक्षोस्ते कोऽयम् त्रिपुरतृणमाडम्बरविधिः विधेयैः क्रीडन्त्यो न खलु परतन्त्राः प्रबुधियः. There was one rakshasa whose name was Tripurasura. One thing to note is, all rakshasas, whether they were rakshasas or whoever it be, everybody did tapasya. Means even to become rakshasa, you need to be tapasvi. But the thing is, what they asked after tapasya, that was different. Somebody asked for long life, immortality. And another person who is a Rishi Muni, they asked for love for God. So what they asked, in that there was difference. Another thing to note here is, if somebody does tapasya, even if he is a rakshasa, Bhagavan is bound to give results to him. Look at the greatness of tapas. Means austerity, whoever does anywhere, it can never go fruitless. So this Tripurasura, he did lot of austerities. Having done everything, what did he ask? He said, Bhagavan, I want 3 forts, 3 palaces. One made of gold, one made of silver, one made of steel. 3 palaces I want, and not stationary palaces. It should be flying palaces. Which one I will live in, nobody will know. And the only way I will be killed is, all 3 palaces have to line up. And one arrow has to pierce all 3 palaces. Only then I will be killed. This was his request. After thousands of years of tapasya, what he asked was this. Give me 3 palaces where I can live without any enemy. And the only way I'll be killed is, all 3 palaces have to line up, one arrow has to pierce, then only I'll be killed. Now Devatas, they were so tired with the havoc that Tripurasura created. Finally they went to Lord Shiva. They said, Bhagavan, do something. Tripurasura is creating so much of chaos for us. Bhagavan Shiva said, Tripurasura is not ordinary rakshasa. Very powerful. We all have to work together. Alone I cannot go and do it. You all have to support me. Everybody said okay. So they built a chariot to go and face Tripurasura. In building that chariot, who all were involved? You see the verse. Kshoni Ratah. Look at the Anvaya for this verse. Kshoni Ratah. Kshoni means earth. Earth became the chariot, Ratha. Shatadrutihi Yanta. Charioteer was Brahmaji. Earth became the chariot. Charioteer was Brahmaji. Agendraha Dhanuhu. Agendra means Mount Meru. Mount Meru became the bow, Dhanuhu. Now chariot means wheels have to be there. Who are the wheels? Moon and sun. Chandra and Surya became the chariot. They did not want to, but they were made to. So everybody gets to be the flag, somebody gets to be the bow. You want me to be the chariot? Bhagavan said, nothing doing, we all have to work together. So it became the chariot. Then Ratha Charana Panihi Sharaha. Ratha Charana Pani means Bhagavan Vishnu. One who has Sudarshan Chakra in his hand. Another name of Bhagavan Vishnu is Ratha Charana Pani. He became the arrow. Means the main task to complete Tripurasura is Lord Vishnu. That arrow became, Bhagavan Vishnu became that arrow. Imagine, this whole chariot is ready now. Mother Earth becomes the chariot, Brahmaji becomes the charioteer, sun and moon, they become the wheels, Mount Meru became the bow, Bhagavan Vishnu became the arrow. Tripurasura is standing in front, Bhagavan Shiva is riding this chariot. When Tripurasura comes in front, Bhagavan roars. Bhagavan Shiva, he roars. Listening to that roar of Lord Shiva, all three palaces align and Tripurasura is killed. Now everybody is looking up. He says, if you just had to roar, why did you bring us here? You made somebody wheel, you made somebody chariot, you made somebody bow. And finally, how was Tripurasura killed? Just by the roar of Lord Shiva. So that's why Pushpadantacharya says, Tripura Trunam Didaksho Hote Ayam Ka Adambara Vidihi. This Tripurasura was like a straw. To kill him, what all paraphernalia you did. Made Brahmaji become charioteer, do this, do that. Khalu vidheyaihi kridantyah prabudhyah paratantraha na. Means one who has lordship, Bhagavan, this is how he plays with jivas. Gives them different roles, makes them do it, and jiva feels, I did it. Because when they came, right, in that chariot, everybody started feeling, if wheel was not there, how would chariot run? If chariot was not there, how would we kill Tripurasura? Bow was not there, how would arrow go? But all that was needed is Bhagavan's roar. Prabudhyah paratantraha na. He says, why does Bhagavan do in this way? He says, you don't ask this question because he is not dependent upon our opinion. Prabudhyah means God's will is not paratantra. It doesn't depend upon anybody else. This is how he works. There is one saying in the Ramcharitmanas, Sabahi mana prada apa amani. What is nature of Bhagavan? He himself is without any arrogance or pride. But he gives recognition to everybody else. Sabahi mana prada apa amani. So all devatas, whatever work he has taken, he will delegate. You become chariot, you become this, you become that. But final result, he says, that is attained by his grace. To show this, This whole Leela he did. It's a great quality of a leader. Bhagavan Rama, when he comes back from Vanavasa, he's talking to our Vasishtha Maharshi, and he tells Vasishtha Maharshi, Bhagavan, I could win over Ravana because of all these Vanaras. Vanaras are looking at each other. He said, we were so afraid fighting Ravana, but Bhagavan says, we won that battle only because of them. He says, that is Bhagavan's nature. Sabahi mana prada apa amani. Gives lot of credit. Gives lot of respect. He says, all devatas are there, what will they do otherwise? Now Tripurasura, it has come in several places. Pura Mathana it was said, Tripurasura. The symbolic meaning of these three palaces are three sharira of a jiva. Three bodies that a jiva has, those are these three palaces. The first sharira is stula sharira, gross body. So first palace where this jiva lives is in gross body. When we go to dream state, we vacate this palace of gross body. And we are predominantly in subtle body. Mind, whatever it is projecting, that is the second place where jiva lives. And the third sharira, third body is causal body, karana sharira, made up of ignorance. So all three palaces lining up is our understanding that these three shariras are matter. They are just an appearance in consciousness. See, whatever we study in Vedanta, right? Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, all Upanishads, it will mention in a poetic way in these stotrams. So more background we have of Vedanta, we can enjoy this better. So three bodies, gross body, subtle body and causal body, they are the three palaces. And Tripurasura represents the jiva, who will live in one of these palaces. And they lining up together is understanding that these three bodies I am not. When will they line up together? When Lord Shiva roars. And that roar of Lord Shiva is Vedanta Mahavakya. When Vedanta says, Tat Tvam Asi, you are that absolute truth. Tat Satyam Tvam Asi. Student understands it as, Aham Brahma Asmi. I am that absolute truth. That is when all these three cities get destroyed. Means he understands I am not this three sharira. If you are listening to this for the first time, you might be wondering, what is this topic? Okay, in simple words, I'll summarize this. One part of Vedanta talks about how to manage these three shariras. How to have healthy stula sharira, physical body. How to have healthy mind. And karana sharira, you can say, how to have healthy samskaras. So all of that is one portion of Vedantic teaching. Technically it is called as Adhyaropa. Adhyaropa means what? You already have certain superimposition, but we are systematically defining it, such that all conditionings are well tuned. And you are adding consciousness while you are tuning these conditionings. But the final message of Vedanta is, these conditionings are not real. These conditionings are only an appearance. What is real is only consciousness. Now this is Vedanta in a nutshell. If you want to open it up, Vedanta Sara, Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, all Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita. Means it needs that kind of elaboration to appreciate what is being said. Sometimes you wonder, right? Why so many texts we study? Text after text after text. You see, even after studying, we don't get it. Still, if somebody asks, who are you? I say, I'm this person. Although from Tattva Bodha they have been telling, Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharirat, Vyatiriktaha. The main message of Vedanta is, you are not this, three Sharira, but we need that repetition. Same text, if you keep repeating, that also we don't like. We want variety also. So our Rishi Munis, they said, we will give you both, repetition plus variety. Here are the text. Spend your life absorbed in these reflections. It's only matter of time, clarity starts dawning. When this Vedanta is so powerful, once we start appreciating it, even while doing our everyday work, Vedantic thoughts will start interfering. And few insights are sufficient to push us forward in this journey. One instance I very distinctly remember, when Swami Vivekananda he comes back from his US tour, when they were all seated in Belur Mutt, all the monks were there. They were doing the regular chores. Swami Vivekananda suddenly roars. He says, drop it. Only that much he says. And that was sufficient for everybody to go in Samadhi. Because everybody had done that Shravanam, it needs that push. Means drop the work, drop the conditioning, drop the ego, pay attention to that truth. Some instances which will help us continue this journey further. The main point is Vedantic thoughts should start getting stronger and stronger. It should start repeating within ourselves even when we are not studying Vedanta. That is a sign of getting taste in something. That is a sign of getting rasa in something. You listen to a nice song, even after we have listened to it, we start humming it. It has created an impression. Like that, Vedanta also should keep getting repeated. Now somebody had a question. Out of all these devatas who became so many things, why was only Lord Vishnu chosen to become the arrow? Answer to that question is next verse. Hariste sahasram Kamalabali madhaya padayoh Hariste sahasram Kamalabali madhaya padayoh Yadeko netasmin Nijamudaharannetra kamalam Yadeko netasmin Nijamudaharannetra kamalam Gato bhaktudrekaha Parinatimasau chakravapusha Gato bhaktudrekaha Parinatimasau chakravapusha Trayanam rakshaye Tripurahara jagarati jagatam Trayanam rakshaye Tripurahara jagarati jagatam Hariste sahasram कमलबलिमाधाय पदयोः यदेको नेतस्मिन् निजमुदहरन्नेत्रकमलं गतो भक्त्युद्रेकः परिणतिमसौ चक्रवपुषा त्रयाणां रक्षायै त्रिपुरहर जागर्ति जगताम्. Bhagavan Vishnu used to do Sahasranama Archana of Bhagavan Shiva every day. Sahasranama means 1,000 names. And he would not do it mechanically. He would do it with lot of attention, lot of faith. Whenever we do puja, there are some rules. First rule is we should not talk. And those who are traditional ritualists, even while doing yajna, if they have to communicate, they will not use words. The only word allowed is Om. So every Veda has one priest. And between them, there will be one head priest. Now, if he has to ask a question, can I offer this ahuti? He will just look. That priest will say Om. This, when I shared in Balvihar, first question was, how do they say no? I said, wonderful. They actually don't need to, because they are so well tuned. Everybody is an expert. The head priest only is telling the sequence when he should do. So what happened was, first he offered one flower, and he had 1,000 lotuses. Every day he would get 1,000 lotuses and he would offer. He offered 1, 2, 900, 990, 995, 999. But then he suddenly saw his plate is empty. The 1,000th flower was missing. Bhagavan Shiva had hidden it, just to make the world realize the devotion of Lord Vishnu. So now Lord Vishnu thinks, what is the rule in puja? I cannot talk. I cannot get up also. That is second rule. Once you sit with all ingredients. Don't get up in between. That is another rule. Neither can he ask somebody to get. So he starts thinking, what should I do? He says, people call me Pundari Kaksha, Kamala Nayana. My eyes are like lotus. So he says, this 1,000th lotus, I will offer my eyes. So he was ready to take out his eye and offer it. Right at that time, Bhagavan Shiva is pleased. And he appears there and blesses Bhagavan Vishnu with Sudarshan Chakra. And that chakra is such that it protects this entire universe even now. Sudarshan Chakra, any devotee is in difficulty, to protect that devotee is responsibility of Sudarshan Chakra. That's why in Durvasa Muni, he insults Ambarisha Raja. Who went after Ambarisha Raja? Who went after Durvasa Muni? Sudarshan Chakra. When Durvasa Muni went to Bhagavan Vishnu, requesting, can you please take this back? He said, it is not under my control. This Sudarshan Chakra lives to protect the one who is righteous. The one who is following ethical life. To protect that person, this Sudarshan Chakra is still very much alert. You see, that is the reason why Bhagavan Vishnu was chosen to become the arrow. The main role was given to Bhagavan Vishnu. Now again, what is this 999 flowers and one flower which was missing? Whatever we offer to the Lord, that symbolizes our karma. Whatever we offer to Bhagavan, that is our actions which we are doing. More or less we can offer most of our actions to Bhagavan. But there will be few areas where our likes and dislikes are very strong. So 999 actions if I am able to offer, one action will be there which will miss this bhavana of Bhagavad Arpan. And it is precisely there where Bhagavan tests our spiritual stamina. Can you let go of this desire? Can you let go of this strong preference? If yes, Sudarshan Chakra is here to protect. So majority of our karmas we can offer as selfless actions. Now this is for an advanced sadhaka. Even if he is offering majority, there will be few karmas, few facets in our personality, where if our preferences are strong, we say, Bhagavan, this particular thing you leave it up to me. Let me have insistence at least here. Don't take away everything. But the one who is able to overcome that 1%, that person gets God's grace. And Sudarshan, another meaning is divine vision also. Su means divine, Darshan means vision. They are blessed with divine vision of Bhagavan. That person is protected. And you see the beauty, huh? Who did tapasya here? Bhagavan Vishnu. And protection came to whom? All devotees. It's a very interesting insight. Tapasya was done by Bhagavan, but protection came to everybody. This point we had seen in Kathopanishad also. Tapasya was done by Nachiketa. And the result of his first boon went to his father. He said, may my father have a calm and a peaceful mind. May there be no agitation for him. May he get good night's sleep. Means sometimes when we get this question, if I am spiritual, will others in my family benefit? That time we should remember these instances. One of the best example for this is, whenever it rains, even if it is raining because of one person, those around will get benefit from that rain. Like that spiritual grace, when it comes upon a devotee, whoever is connected to that person, everybody benefits from that grace. That is the symbolism of this Sudarshan Chakra, which was there and which protected the whole universe. This whole part also is symbolic representation of one Mundaka Upanishad mantra. Pranavo dhanuhu sharo hyatma brahma tallaksham uchyate. The Pranava mantra is the bow. The individual self is the arrow. And the goal is Brahman. Means starting with the conditionings of a jiva, having removed these conditionings, we have to discover our own infinitude. When the archer is starting the arrow, at that time finitude is there. But when it hits the goal, Lakshya is Brahma. Jiva dissolves his conditionings and discovers his oneness with Brahma. Pranavo dhanuhu sharohyatma brahma tallakshamuchate apramattena vedhavyam. He said, practice this target without any pramada, without inadvertence. Once you know this is the goal, this is the truth, practice it repeatedly. Sharavat tanmayo bhavet. Having become one with the target, dissolve oneself in that infinitude. It's just given in a poetic way. Next verse, we'll just chant it, then meaning we will see in the next session. Kratau supte jagrat त्वमसि फलयोगे क्रतुमताम् क्रतौ सुप्ते जाग्रत् त्वमसि फलयोगे क्रतुमताम् क्व कर्म प्रध्वस्तम् फलति पुरुषाराधनमृते क्व कर्म प्रध्वस्तम् फलति पुरुषाराधनमृते अतस्त्वां सम्प्रेक्ष्य क्रतुषु फलदानप्रतिभुवम् अतस्त्वां सम्प्रेक्ष्य क्रतुषु फलदानप्रतिभुवम् श्रुतौ श्रद्धां बद्ध्वा दृढपरिकरः कर्मसु जनः श्रुतौ श्रद्धां बद्ध्वा दृढपरिकरः कर्मसु जनः क्रतौ सुप्ते जाग्रत् त्वमसि फलयोगे क्रतुमताम् क्व कर्म प्रध्वस्तम् फलति पुरुषाराधनमृते अतस्त्वां सम्प्रेक्ष्य क्रतुषु फलदानप्रतिभुवम् श्रुतौ श्रद्धां बद्ध्वा दृढकरिकरः कर्मसु जनः. It's a beautiful words talking about karma phala, how results come. We'll see in the next session. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.